took over like 2 years ago, primarily, what did the business look like at that point? Because there was some, it maybe needed some updating, is what it sounds like.
It was, so the office part was actually just run out of my parents' house in their basement.
Yeah.
Like a corner, probably smaller than what we're just sitting in here. Like 2 computer screens, 2 phones.
Yeah.
And then the trucks were run out of shop like 10 minutes down the road.
Is that right?
So it's kind of split.
Yeah.
And well, even before that, everything was run out of the house. And then eventually we got to where we can have a little bit of storage space. And
right.
Space for the trucks.
So the neighbors got tired of looking at trucks around the house. And that stuff. Yeah.
2-3 years ago, we built a new building.
Oh, really?
And everything's together now.
Oh, I bet that made all
the difference. It was a big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting everything
for sure
together.
But everything was on paper too back then, right?
Well, the big changes really started about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Because everything was on paper. We charged about $100 an hour at that point.
Yeah.
We had little index cards that we would record the history of where we worked at someone's house.
Yeah.
It was chaotic. The technicians were running Noah could run through 7 jobs a day, and we would just pile them on whoever called. And so there wasn't a lot of structure to it. And one day, actually a couple of times, Missy, our coach, would call to check on us. And my mom would always be too busy, so she'd say, no. And then one day I was like, well, I have some time. I'll take her call.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then that kind of started all the implementations of the CertainPath procedures.
Yeah.
And that's when it really started going. And then we went from paper and got right onto Service Titan.
Okay.
In 2019.
Okay.
And that was a huge change in our efficiency. And started looking at pricing and updating everything.
Yeah. What were some, if you're thinking back 5 years ago, what were some of the other things you're like, okay, we need to update, I don't know if it was a price book you got in place or if you went to tablets or what are some other core operational improvements that can you recall from 5 years ago to now?
Well, I know exactly where it started.
Yeah.
It started with pricing.
Yeah.
It was pricing. So we were $100 an hour, and that was introduced to the pricing levels. And we went from $100 to $250 an hour. And then that's when it started where we moved away from pricing by the hour.
Yeah.
And went into the straightforward pricing.
Yeah.
And so that really started to jump that. And then we started to think, okay, well, instead of rushing through all these jobs, why don't we try to maximize our time on the job with the customer?
Right.
And it saved us money on our bottom line, and we were just able to give them better service. And so that really kickstarted.
Yeah. How did everyone respond to this idea of more than doubling your price? I mean, were you guys all on board? At least it was the family on board. How about the other plumbers on the team at the time? Or was there a mini revolt? I've heard all sorts of things.
I don't think there was really a revolt. I think usually when you make that kind of jump, people are just going to be wary. Like,
sure,
some people might feel like they're ripping somebody off or whatever, especially if you started off at 100 and you're going up, you're doubling your price.
Yeah.
So it's just making everybody understand their value.
Right.
And they're worth more than $100.
Yeah. So was that you just had a meeting and said, hey guys, you're worth more than this? And
Usually, I was going to say, it would come with a payment increase.
Okay.
So they would get more per hour, and we're also increasing our prices, which
right,
can't grumble about that too much.
Right.
So yeah, we didn't have that many employees at that time.
Okay.
So it was probably half of us were family. So it was like, well, we're all on board with it. So it makes it a little bit easier for everyone else to jump on.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've done a lot of these where the family is split on whether to do it or not. So that's good. You guys were all on board. They're like, okay, something's got to change because you're all working probably ridiculous hours, right? And then you're worried about, revenue not being what you think it should be based on the effort you're putting in. But, with increased cost, increased value, right? So were the trucks in good shape or did you need to get new trucks?
Since then, we probably we've gotten all new trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're constantly buying, a couple trucks a year now.
Right.
So
Wrapping them, making them look nice, get that brand out there.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so the value, you also have to know how to present all this, right? How to do an inspection. Who's been doing the training? How often did you guys start training? Was that a new thing for you back then?
Isaiah, who's not here, does most of the training, well, at least set the training structure. Right now we train Tuesdays and Thursdays for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we do that. We have done that training in the past, but it wasn't as structured. It was just, hey, we're going to kind of talk for 30 minutes and
Right.
we might not even really know what we're going to talk about.
Right.
So it's been much more structured since he's taken over that role.
I know he's not here, but like, how does he structure? Does he break down steps of the call, or is it just, hey, we're noticing certain things happening, let's address it? What do you typically do?
it depends. Sometimes we'll go over, calls, and sometimes the trainings will just be on plumbing code.
Yeah.
So it depends on the day. And
Yeah.
sometimes if somebody says earlier in the week or something that they want to go over something or learn about something, we'll talk about, let's say somebody has a question about a water heater. We'll go over all the water heater ins and outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does everyone come in every morning? Or is it just Tuesday, Thursdays? And that's great. So, I mean, how valuable is that to have, be able to see everybody, talk about what's going on? I mean, obviously Tuesday, Thursday, you have training, but you're interacting, probably talking about jobs you had the previous day, learning from each other, able to see how's everybody doing before you start going to people's homes. Because there's some people that go, we just want to dispatch our guys from their homes. And that's fine. It's efficient, but I feel like there's some value in seeing everyone every day. Do you guys agree? It's good to see the whole team.
Yeah.
I think you feel a little bit more connected that way.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
The culture kind of starts to build, right?
Yep.